We've been talking about for the last few weeks discipleship. And Brother David started out with when they met him, talking about when people met Jesus. And when you meet Jesus, it changes your life. You can't stay the same. If you truly meet him and give your life to him, there will be a change. And then last week we started a new series called When They Follow Him. They've met him, now they follow him. So we're talking about discipleship. Brother Mike preached last week, and I appreciate your good message. He talked about a disciple has been delivered. You must be born again to be a disciple. You must know Jesus Christ. Then he talked about a disciple must be dedicated. I've really been thinking about that one this week. Being dedicated and committed. And a disciple duplicates. In other words, he goes and makes other disciples. That's what we're called to do. Matthew 28, it's a command. We're called to make disciples. It should be a desire in our heart to see people come to Christ. So I know some here might be wondering, what's he thinking about, or what's he going to be preaching about this morning? And I've been struggling this week with this text because it's strong. But it doesn't really matter what I think. What matters is what the Bible says and what the Lord says and what He thinks. I've said, Lord, really? I've read this text over. Really? Really? Yes, really. It's His Word. So we're going to be in Luke chapter 14 this morning. So it doesn't matter if the text is strong. It doesn't matter. Let me tell you something. I battle with these same things I'm going to be preaching to you about this morning. I battle with them. We all battle with them. None of us have arrived. It's a struggle. But nevertheless, the text I'm going to read is true. It's true. So let's look. First of all, let me tell you this. I'm going to be talking about the cost of following Christ. The cost of being a true disciple. There is a cost. Salvation is free. But discipleship costs. Salvation is free to us through Christ and what He's done. It cost Him everything. It cost Him everything. He gave His life. He suffered on the cross. He left heaven. It cost Him everything. He gave it for us. So it did cost something. It cost Him, but not us. He took our place. Let me ask you a question. Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to pay the price? Has following Christ cost you anything? Let's ponder that a minute. Are you willing to follow Jesus on His terms? On His terms. We have a lot of people that want to follow Him on their own terms. He has some terms. I encourage you just to take your Bible, open it, go to one of the Gospels, and just read everything in red. Everything in red, nothing else. We serve a God of love. He gave it all for us. But we also serve a just God. Read everything in red. Christ had some strong messages. Just check it out. I invite you to do that. It'll take you an hour. So salvation is free, but discipleship costs. Martin Luther, the great reformist, said this. A religion that gives nothing, a religion that costs nothing, a religion that suffers nothing, is a religion that's worth nothing. I'll say it again. This is what he said. A religion that gives nothing, costs nothing, suffers nothing, is worth nothing. You see, being a successful Christian doesn't mean just giving your life to Christ and that's it, coming on Sunday mornings. That is not success as a Christian. Yes, that's part of it. But our life should be glorifying God to the point that it's making an eternal difference in the life of someone else. We should be reaching other people. We're not to keep it to ourselves. We're to be disciples. He says, make disciples, Matthew chapter 28. Now, Paul Powell, he wrote a book called The Complete Disciple. He had this to say. He says, many churches today remind me of a laboring crew trying to gather in a harvest while they sit in the tool shed. They go to the tool shed every Sunday. They study bigger and better methods of agriculture. They sharpen their hoes. They grease their tractors. And they go back home. And he says they come back on Wednesday night. And again, they study bigger and better methods of agriculture. They sharpen their hoes. They grease their tractors. And they get up and go home. They do this week in and week out, year in and year out. And few ever go into the fields and gather the harvest. He doesn't say that none do, but he says few. I think we're seeing evidence of that. We're called to go. James 1:22 says this, to be ye doers of the word, not hearers only. To be ye doers of the word, or you're deceiving yourself. What does he mean, deceiving yourself? It's self-deception if we think that God's goal for His church is to merely assemble on Sundays and hear His word. It should be bringing transformation to the point that we become doers of the word, not hearers only. We're supposed to be about the Lord's business. We're called to serve. And we have all these wonderful opportunities coming up to serve. We got a mission trip coming up. We got the Feed My Sheep coming up. We had a lady come on Wednesday night. I spoke from Meals on Wheels. She didn't come asking for money. She come asking for volunteers. They do a wonderful thing. They go out to people's houses, take meals, and that's the only people that some of those people see during the week is that person who brings in the meal. She said she had been to multiple churches and still hadn't gotten a volunteer. Her family's the ones who volunteer. She needs volunteers. There's people in line waiting to be served. My question is, we got all these opportunities. What are we going to do? Are we going to be disciples? So let's read our text. Luke chapter 14, starting in verse 25. It says, now great multitudes went with him, and he turned and said to them, if anyone come to me and does not hate his father, mother, wife, children, brothers, and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Verse 27, and whoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it? Least after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock you, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to war against another king does not sit down and first consider whether he's able 10,000 to meet who comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is still a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks conditions of peace. So likewise, whoever does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. Strong words coming from our Lord and Savior himself. Before we get into the text, I wanted to look at verse 25 first. I want you to understand the context of what's going on here. Jesus was at the height of his popularity. Now, that was going to change real soon. But in the previous chapters before this, we read what he had done. He had healed a demon-possessed man. He had healed a woman who had blood issues for 12 years. He had brought back a young girl to life. He had fed 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He had healed a man of dropsy. On the Sabbath. On the Sabbath day, yes, he did. He called out the Pharisees for their hypocrisy, the religious crowd. He preached great sermons. But then Jesus recognized. He recognized that they're following me for the wrong reason. They were following me for what they can get from me, not to show their worship and their appreciation and all their love for me. So here's what he does. He says he's walking, and then he turns to them. He knows they're there. Hey, that's a pastor or a preacher's dream. He's got thousands of people waiting to hear what he's got to say. What does he say? He goes on, he turns, he says, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father, mother, wife, children, brothers, and sisters, yes, and his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Now, that's pretty plain words, don't you think? See, he doesn't do this. He doesn't perform another miracle. He doesn't water down his message, keep them around. But in the strongest terms possible, he speaks to them and tells them the cost. It's going to cost them to follow me. There's no fine print. In American churches today, I'm not talking about our church. We have a great church. We're not a perfect church. We still got work to do. We have a great church. But for the most part, in American churches today, we've watered down the messages in order to gain followers. Now, Jesus did not do that. We see this. He did not do it. Your pastor, David, does not do that. He speaks truth and love. And I will not do that. I have to speak truth, but in love. It's because I love you and care about you that I speak the truth from the Bible. I'm not speaking my opinion. I'm speaking God's Word. Amen. He loves us. Why did He give us these commands? Because He loves us. He knows what's best for us. I appreciate the strong message Brother Mike brought last week. I've been thinking about it a lot this week. Church, I want you to know this before we go further. I love you. I love you. I think you know that. But I want you to know that. I want you to hear from me. I love you. But part of loving you is speaking the whole truth of this book. Preaching the whole counsel of God. I am not interested in winning a popularity contest, but I am interested in souls. I'm interested in your soul, your children's soul, your family's souls. And I'm interested in seeing everyone become a sold-out, true follower of Jesus Christ, a true disciple, including myself. I'm preaching to me too. When I was preparing for this, it was preaching to me pretty strong. So, what is the real price of discipleship? What is it? One, it's obedience. We're called to walk in obedience. And to put Him above all other things. To put Him above all other things. So let's look at verse 26. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father, mother, wife, children, brother, sister, and yes, his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Here we see the first price tag of discipleship. He says all these strong, shocking words. Wait a minute, Jesus. Didn't you say we're to love everybody? What are you saying, Lord? Didn't you say we're to honor our father and mother? Our husbands, we're not to love our wives. Parents, we're not to raise our children in fear and admonition of the Lord. We're not to love our brothers and sisters. That word hate there means this. It means to love less. or in comparison to. If you love the Lord the way you're supposed to, He's supposed to be here. No other relationship, even your family, you see this in words, should be close to our relationship. It should be almost like we hate Him. The difference. That's what it's saying. He's not saying to go hate. He's saying comparatively. Strong words. Is that true? Is that true in my life? See, I'm very pro-family. I love my wife. I love my son. They know I love them. If they know that by loving Jesus more, if He's in His proper place, I can love Him better, like I'm supposed to. Now, wives, this means that you're not to love your husband. You're to love your husband, but you're to love Jesus more. Husbands, you're to love your wife, but you're to love Jesus more. Moms and dads, you're to love your children, but you're to love Jesus more. Grandparents, you're to love those grandbabies, but you're to love Jesus more. Single guys, you got a girlfriend, you love Jesus more. Single girls, same thing. You love Jesus more. Our love for Jesus must supersede any other relationship. See, it does me great. It brings me great joy to know that my wife, my son, love the Lord more than they love me. That's what I want for them. I want them to love Him more than me. So we're called to give Him everything. Not all your family or friends, or even your Christian friends, are going to be happy about you being sold out to Jesus. Being a true disciple. We've got to stop letting pleasing people come before pleasing God. Say it again. We've got to stop letting pleasing people come before pleasing God. Hey, thank you. It's a good place for an amen. You see, in the Islamic culture, or in the Jewish culture, Islamic culture, if you give your life to Christ, there's two things that's going to happen. You're going to be ostracized, you're going to be kicked out. And sometimes there's a thing called honor killing. The father will actually take the life of the child. It costs him something to follow Christ. In the Jewish culture, same thing. If you accept Christ, your family wants nothing to do with you. Even in the church body, we can see friction about levels of commitment. Let me tell you a story. I was at another church. Had a youth pastor. He was doing a great job with the youth. One youth got really on fire for the Lord. I mean, he went on a mission trip. He was doing all these things. He was sharing the Word. He started taking his Bible to school. The youth pastor got a call from the parent. Hey, listen, we want our son to be a good Christian. We want him to go to church. But man, he's getting a little too far. He's taking his Bible to church. Sharing with people. And we don't want people to think this came from the mother. God forgive us. So loyalty to Christ must supersede all other earthly relationships. We cannot give Jesus the love. Otherwise, he says we cannot be his disciples. Verse 27. The second price tag of true discipleship. The second, I cannot be my disciple statement. It says this, and whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Now, in the days of the Romans, the cross was not a pretty thing to look at. They killed thousands of people. Along the sides of the Roman roads, there would be crucifixions everywhere. Just to say, hey, don't mess with us. This is what will happen to you. It was an ugly death. They killed thousands. But to carry your cross means that you're a dead man walking. It means you're going to die. Jesus says here we're to bear our cross. Actually, in Luke 9, he says, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. For whosoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whosoever loses his life for my sake will save it. He says to take up your cross daily. What does that mean? It means this. It means you put God first. Trust God. You die to yourself. You're living for Jesus rather than you. Every aspect of your life, He handles. He takes care of. Not my will, but your will, Lord. It's a selfless love, not a selfish love. We love ourselves less. We love God and others more. That's what it means to take up your cross. Let me ask you something. We don't have to teach ourselves to love ourselves. We already love ourselves. Christ says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. He knew we loved ourselves. Hey, we love ourselves. Let's just be honest. Let me ask you a question. When somebody brings you a picture, a group picture, and you're in it, who's the first person you look for? Who's the first person you look for? You know, can we Photoshop that a little bit? Take a little off? We love ourselves. Bear your cross means to deny yourself. Follow Christ. I heard another story about a couple went to a jewelry store. They were looking at crosses. The boyfriend was wanting to buy her a cross or some kind of necklace, whatever she wanted. They were looking at crosses. And she found some she liked, and then she held one up and she said, I really like this one. Do you have any like this without the little man on it? That's what many are looking for, a cross without Jesus. One that requires nothing from us. No real commitment or no real sacrifice. No sacrifice of time, no sacrifice of money, no sacrifice of anything. So what does it mean to die to yourself? Let me give you just a few examples. Forgiving instead of harboring, that grows. Resisting that temptation that everyone else does when you know it's wrong. Not living together before marriage and staying together after. Putting down the remote and picking up the Bible to read it. Swallowing your pride and telling someone about Jesus and what He's done for your life. There are people who have known Jesus for 10, 20, 30 years. 10, 20, 30 years. And have never shared the good news. They have never shared what He has done for them. God forgive us. Now we have a lot of babies in here. You hear them cooing and what? I just want to walk around, hold them and kiss them. I'm afraid everybody's going to think I'm running for office or something. Sorry, David. But listen, babies drink milk. Babies drink milk. Just like I said, about 10, 20, 30 years, people not sharing the good news, not sharing the gospel, not telling others about Jesus. There are people who've known Jesus for 10, 20, 30 years and they're still drinking milk. We're supposed to be feeding other people. God has called us to be disciples. So, we've established the cost of discipleship first. We've got to love Christ more than anything, any relationship. Next, we're to bear our cross, to die to self. And then we're going to look at the last, the number 3. You cannot follow me statement. So let's look at it. And that's going to be in verse 33. Verse 33. It says this. So likewise, whosoever does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. Those are tough words coming from the lips of our Lord. And we can try to rationalize this. We can try to reason it all away. But I think God means what He says. Remember the rich young ruler? He came to the Lord and said, "Good teacher, what must I do to earn salvation or get salvation?" Now the Lord did not want what he had. The Lord did not need it. The Lord saw his heart and saw that he was attached to those things. And that was going to be a problem. He's not telling you to go sell everything that you have. But He's telling you to hold on to it loosely. Because it belongs to Him anyway. It does. Hold on loosely. All that we have belongs to God. What things are you attached to that you can't let go of? Is there anything in your life like that? Listen to me, beloved. Please. Once you step across the line of complacency and compromise, once you step over that line and say to God, "It's all yours. I'm all yours. It's not about me anymore. It's about you." Then you're free. That's real freedom. I'm not worrying about things. I'm not worrying about other things. About what I have, what I don't have, what other people have. I'm not worried about so much about what other people think about me. Lord, I want to serve you. I want to be right with you. That's what matters. That's true freedom. We're not attached to people's approval, but to God's approval. God first. Love more than anything else. God. We're not attached to selfish desires. We bear our cross. We die to ourselves. We're not attached to things and stuff, and we surrender all we have to Him. Then, it says, then, His Word says, we can be His disciple. Then you can be my disciple if you do these things. I want to end with the same thing I started with. Same question. Are you willing? Are you willing to pay the price to be His disciple? Are you willing to come to it on His terms? Are you willing to be a disciple for the one who paid it all? And He did. He paid it all. Are you willing to be a true disciple for Him? That's the question.